Was the Trojan War before the flood of Ogygos? Is that when it took place? We know of the hero Achilles, the Trojan War of Greek mythology. According to modern historical estimates, the Battle of Troy took place somewhere between 1200 and 1300 BC, about 3,500 years ago. Of course, this is not absolute because with the anti-Hellenism that governs many scientific groups and the pressure exerted to find a generator of human history, it results in compressing Greek history from hundreds of thousands of years to just a few thousand. Now let's analyze some historical facts that overturn the dating of most archaeologists, manipulating and direct us to the depths of millennia, where we meet the native Pelasgian pre-flood Greeks coming from the stars, giving knowledge generously. The intervention of Nestor, the mythical king of Pylos, in the conflict between Agamemnon and Achilles. According to the Iliad, Rhapsody, BP lyrics 260 to 273, quote, "I made friends with you better than you in the past. They never despised me. I have never seen such men before. I will never see them again. Peirithus and Diranta, the leader of the people, Caenea and Exadio, Polyphemus the worthy, Theseus, son of Aegeus, similar to the immortals. Of those who live on earth, they were the most manly. They were men, they were fighting with men. Hills of the mountains were warm, and they were destroying everything. I met them brought from Pylos, from a distant place, and they called me themselves. I was fighting on my own, but I could not face the mortals of the world. But they took my opinion, and they listened to my speech." End quote. Dryatus is the son of god Mars and the brother of Tereus. Dryas took part in the hunt for Calidonis Capris. Tereus, when he once learned from prophetic signs, quote unquote, that his son Euthus would be killed by a relative, suspected Dryas, as he thought that Dryas would in this way seek to usurp the throne. So he hurriedly killed Dryas in order to prevent that murder. And Kaianos, in Greek mythology, Kaianos or Kineos, was a Lapithus mentioned in the Battle of Lapis and Centaurs. Kineos was invulnerable. He killed 5 centaurs in the above battle and was killed only when he was crushed by stones and large branches or pine trunks. So he sank standing in the ground under their great weight and never reappeared. According to one view, Kineos was a chthonic deity, while according to another, he was a being of the god Mars. Exadius, in Greek mythology, with the name Exadius is one of the Lapithus, one of the guests of the wedding of Peirithus, who took part in the battle with the centaurs. Theseus was a Greek king of Athens in Greek mythology, the son of Aegeus and Aethra, one of the most important heroes in ancient Greece with a multitude of works. And here we find that Homer mentions that a mythical king of Pylos, Nestor, made friends with other mythical kings such as Theseus VI, Caeneus and Dryatus, the leaders of the people who fought the centaurs, the minotaur, and other mythical monsters. The above kings lived in the old Pelasgian real era, which today many naively characterize as mythology, that is, many thousands of years ago. Since Nestor is still alive taking part in the Battle of Troy, then this battle is much older than 1300 BC. Agamemnon and Menelaus had Atreus as their father. Atreus had a brother, Theseus, and they both had Pelops as their father. Pelops was the father of the terrible Tantalus, son of Zeus. So the two main protagonists of the Iliad, Agamemnon and Menelaus, had Tantalus as great-grandfather. According to legend, Tantalus was the son of Pluto, which means abundance, and came to be considered a friend and fellow banker of the Olympian gods, where he robbed him of his nectar and ambrosia that he carried to his palace. At the same time, he did not try to convey the secrets of the gods to the people. But what was horrifying about his actions was that he wanted to see if the Olympian gods could be deceived, and to this end he went so far as to slaughter his eldest son Pelops and offer him a meal, and it said that only the goddess Demetra, devastated by the loss of her daughter Persephone, ate part of the child's arm. Other gods would realize the immune crime of the child-killing Tantalus, resurrected Pelops, restored his mutilation, and his life imprisonment. Since Tantalus was a banker with the gods of Olympus and was only 3 generations behind Agamemnon Menelaus, then we confirm from the genealogical tree of the Atreides that their time was not far from the genus of heroes who had contact with the quote-unquote gods. Pausanias in Arcadica and Laconica refers to a multiple-year war that broke out between Sparta and Argos. Both of these cities are in the Peloponnese, the southern area of Greece, without a winner due to an oracle that stated that the winner would be the one who finds the bones of Atreus. No one believed that myth during the war except for 2 Spartan soldiers who were desperately searching for his bones. Eventually they managed to find his grave somewhere in Arcadia and transported it to Sparta, and Sparta won. The important thing here, though, is, according to Pausanias, that it took a horse to carry only the skull of Atreus, because it was such a huge size. So how tall was Atreus? And what were his sons, Menelaus and Agamemnon? How tall were they? If we look at the Gate of the Lions in Mycenae, we'll understand that from there people passed by more than twice the height of today's man, so the time when people were this size was pre-flood, as well as the time of the Trojan War. The Battle of Troy took place at a much deeper time than modern archaeologists believe. It happened at a time when people and heroes of the epic were enormous in size, had supernatural powers, and even contact with the quote-unquote gods. The time that justifies such conjectures is before 10,000 BC. That's over 12,000 years ago. So we're talking about before the great flood of Ogygos, about 10,000 BC, and we're referring to the genus of heroes. Then she became the mother of the battles, and the great Achilles became a man. The worthy Hector fell. It was a time when the sacred title El Eni was transferred from the point 1 the pyramid of Taygetus, and point 2 Dion Olympus, and went to the point 3 Ilion without permission, so the war caused. He was eventually imprisoned in Egypt under the auspices for security reasons. Helen says, I did not go to Troy, but my idol, Menelaus. But who makes live dummies? El, the ether from where the gods made your wife, with which the gods did it. Which of the gods did it? El says, Hera, to replace me and not to be taken by Paris. With, you say things unexpectedly. El, the name can be found in many places, but the body does not. No, I don't understand what this is. This is a translation from Greek. And I'll leave links below for you for this. This is from Diadrastika. Now, several astronomical phenomena are repeated over time, and by counting, they reach far back, just as the astronomical knowledge of the Orphics dates back to at least 11,860 BC, according to the eminent Greek astronomer Hasapi. It's possible, then, that Homer tells us about what could be traced back to around 10,000 BC. Now, more other indications are that the Trojan War is related to the moon and its conquest. So again, we can end up in about the same millennium up and down. Well, okay, I don't understand much of what this says, but what it's trying to say is that ancient Greek historians and the events and the people linking even to the fact that they found an ancient skull that a horse could carry. That was how huge it was. We're talking about pre-flood giants, the Nephilim giants of the book of Genesis 6. And I'll leave links below for you for this. Please leave your comments. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.